Live from the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum and the WNDU studios, this is News Center 16's Countdown to Kickoff.
You are looking live at the historic Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where tonight, number 3 Notre Dame plans to add to its own illustrious history by dispatching old rival USC and claiming a spot in the college football playoff. The undefeated Fighting Irish arrived at the Coliseum a little more than an hour ago, the 12th stop in what's shaping up to be a magical season. And they have been welcomed by plenty of the Irish faithful who've journeyed to the West Coast, where their California dream is of a perfect season. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to News Center 16's Countdown to Kickoff. I'm WHME Sports Director Chuck Freeby. And we bring in the Countdown's Alex Wilcox, who has journeyed to the Coliseum, and the Irish, Alex, are just one win away.
Chuck, it's really hard to believe just even hearing you say that. Hey, we all did our season predictions at the beginning of the year. You and Mark both said they would go 10-2. I said 9-3. Now here they are, a game away from a perfect 12-0 season. And if Notre Dame gets the win today, a first ever trip to the college football playoff will be the reward. It's a huge step for a program that hasn't won a national title in 30 years, but the players tell us they're not letting this massive moment get to them.
I mean, we're very aware of the situation, but it's not something that we talk about too much and create some type of pressure for ourselves. We know where we are, we know what we got to do, and we just got to do what we've done every week.
We're excited. We know that we have a lot on the line, but we're focused on what we have to do. You know, we don't have any pressure. You know, we know what it's going to take.
And what it will take is a dominating performance from the Irish, just like what we saw them do to Syracuse last week in the Big Apple. And Chuck, I understand you have a key to how they make that happen.
Well, one of the main reasons the Irish are in this position, as it was 6 years ago when they were undefeated, is this dominating defense. Notre Dame's defense was expected to be a strength this season, but with a new defensive coordinator in Clark Lee and new personnel such as Alohi Gilman at safety, no one knew for sure how good the Irish D would be. They seem to have improved every week, peaking last Saturday, holding a Syracuse team that averaged 44 points per game to a mere field goal. The Irish say that's because of a disciplined approach.
We like to equate it to like climbing Everest, right? You look at a season and, you know, at Notre Dame you have to go 12-0 to put yourself in a position to go to the playoffs most likely. And so if you just look at it and say, dang, we got to go 12-0, like that's a daunting task. If you look at it like we got to be 1-0 at the end of every week, it doesn't look as daunting.
Now, the Irish currently rank 15th in the nation in scoring defense. That's their best ranking since finishing number 2 in 2012. But the other side of the ball has been strong too, right, Alex?
Yeah, that's right, Chuck. It seems like every week this Irish offense just gets more and more creative and more exciting to watch. We saw it last week at Yankee Stadium when they took on Syracuse. The Irish threw all sorts of wrinkles at an overmatched Orange defense to thrill the Subway alumni packed crowd and put the game away early. So, what's the secret? Notre Dame's dynamic star running back tells us.
So we just really have to go out and just play our football and just be ourselves and have fun playing. And it's a lot of times where we were kind of like uptight. I feel like this team is more loose and that we're having a lot of fun and the coaches trust us a lot more.
Of course, one of those coaches that they trust so much is offensive coordinator Chip Long. He's had a fantastic season so far, so much so that he's been named a finalist for the Broyles Award, given annually to the nation's top assistant coach. And I'll tell you what, Chuck, these coaches are in a lot better position than the ones on the home sideline right now.
Well, it is a far different story this year for USC. The Trojans need a win tonight just to be bowl eligible, and it has head coach Clay Helton sitting on one of the hottest seats in college football. A banged-up offensive line has allowed a ton of sacks and has been extremely inconsistent rushing the football. Defensively, their best player, Porter Gustin, is injured and out for the season. They average 8 penalties per game, and they've shown very little interest in tackling. Clay Helton is trying to remain optimistic despite no reason to be.
We are disappointed, and we are going to get it fixed, and it is going to get better, and there are going to be better days ahead rather than pointing fingers. That's what pros do, and you know, it's been a season of learning for all of us as both staff and players.
And here was the scene this afternoon at the Coliseum, a private plane flying around with a banner attached beseeching USC Athletic Director Lynn Swann to end the Helton era. Now, while many Trojan fans do want him fired, the buyout on his contract is $15 million, and USC currently has just an interim president and a fledgling AD in Swann. Alex, this is completely the opposite of the situation the last time the Irish went to L.A.
You said it, Chuck. Just 2 years ago, the last time when Notre Dame came to the Coliseum, USC was the one that had playoff aspirations, while many Notre Dame fans were clamoring for Brian Kelly to be fired. Notre Dame finished a dismal 2016 season with a 45-27 drubbing by Troy here at the Coliseum. But out of that 4-8 campaign came many changes from Brian Kelly's coaching staff and in his strength and conditioning program. It was a very low point, but one that turned out to be the first building block to what we're now witnessing.
We knew that we had the tools, and it was just shaping those and really getting those, or getting the right pieces in place, and we did that. The pieces came together for us, and we knew that we could be great, and it's been successful.
And now, Chuck, Notre Dame has the chance to see that success come full circle right here at the Coliseum.
Alex, the players most responsible for this turnaround and special season, they are the topic of tonight's Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. We want to know who you think is Notre Dame's 2018 MVP. Right now, quarterback Ian Book getting a majority of the votes, followed by Captain Drew Tranquil, then Dexter Williams, Julian Love, and Jerry Tillery. Now, there's still time to vote in the Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. We'll have those final results in about 20 minutes, and we're just getting rolling tonight on the countdown. Up next, one of those Irish MVP candidates is up for the nation's top defensive back award. Why that has Julian Love sharing the love. And here's your first Subway trivia question of the night. What Irish player had his likely game-winning touchdown overturned by a controversial penalty in the USC game in 1964? The answer when the countdown comes back from South Bend and South Central in 2 minutes.
Here's today's Subway Eat Fresh trivia answer.
When fullback Joe Cantor plowed into the end zone in the fourth quarter against USC in 1964, it looked like it put the Irish up 23-7. Then came the late holding flag.
And the Irish lose their chance to put the game on ice.
From there, USC rallied to win 2017, spoiling Notre Dame's perfect record and hopes for a national championship in Ara Parsekin's first season. We touched on Notre Dame's dominating defense this season a little earlier. Now with a closer look at one of the big reasons why, let's bring in the countdown's Mark Skol Jr.
Thank you, Chuck. Irish cornerback Julian Love might not be racking up the interceptions like he did a season ago, but he's still getting the national recognition this year. This week, Love was named one of the 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award given to the best defensive back in the country. This year, Love has 49 tackles, 14 pass breakups, and 1 interception. But Love doesn't take any credit for his success this year.
It just goes to show what this team does for each other. I mean, it's not just me with that award. I feel like it's my D-line, my linebackers, the DBs around me, everyone really working towards a common goal and helping me out. So I'm very grateful for everybody for humbling me and just helping me grow in this process. And this award, hopefully I win, but I just know it's for them.
The winner of the Thorpe Award will be announced on December 6th. Now, from one defensive back getting national recognition to one who impressed Coach Kelly last weekend, Irish safety Alohi Gilman might have had the best game of his career against Syracuse as he recorded his first 2 interceptions. His performance last Saturday even earned him the game ball, but Gilman couldn't care less about the personal stats. He just wants to win.
I'm pleased, but we got the win, and that's all that matters. And just feeling the confidence we have each other as a defense and where we're going and the potential we have to finish the season off the right way is probably the bigger pleasing thing.
When he's on the football field, his personality comes out, his love for the game, his energy, his passion starts to affect others.
Gilman says last week's game against Syracuse shows the Irish defense has the potential to be the best in the country. Alex, we'll see if they continue that success tonight in the Coliseum.
All right, Mark, we've still got plenty to bring you live from LA in this season-ending edition of Countdown to Kickoff. 6 years ago tonight, Notre Dame finished the season undefeated here at the Coliseum. So is this year's team better than that 2012 squad? That's just one of our questions for Tim O'Malley in the Irish Illustrated Report. And you can subscribe to Irish Illustrated, the #1 source for Notre Dame sports online. Just head to irishillustrated.com and click on Join to find the best plan for you. Back on the countdown here at the LA Coliseum, and Tim O'Malley joins us once again for the Irish Illustrated Report. All right, Tim, last time we were here at the Coliseum, things were certainly a little bit different.
Yeah, the tables have turned. USC is kind of the reeling team where you wonder if what's going to happen with head coach Clay Helton. And, you know, there was a plane flying up there that asked Lynn Swann to please fire the head coach. And it's a rough situation for them, but the turnaround by Notre Dame, 21-3 since that moment, looking to close it out now at 22-3. It's remarkable.
It really is. Now, the last time Notre Dame was here 11-0 was 2012. That team went undefeated, went to the national championship. I want to know, how does this team compare? Are they better than that undefeated squad?
You know, I think overall they are. It's not fair to say the defense is better than that defense, but it might be more well-equipped to go into the playoffs and win a game because of the pass rush and having corners that can play. I mean, that was a stout defense. They had given up 10 touchdowns in the entire regular season. Offensively, I don't think it's a comparison. I think with Ian Book, this is a much better offense. Certainly more balanced. If they get shut down running, they can beat you passing. If you shut down the passing game, Dexter Williams can get you on the run.
All right, this was our fan poll from today. We asked, who's Notre Dame's MVP this year?
Yeah, my MVP for Notre Dame, I think, is Ian Book, because I don't think they would be 11-0 without him. I do think that he will not win the Monogram Player of the Year award. I think that's going to go to a senior. You and I kind of discussed a senior defender, probably Drew Tranquil or Tavon Coney in that realm.
All right, Notre Dame's favored by a lot. USC's having a rough year. Is there any way Notre Dame loses tonight?
You know, USC would have to play above themselves on the offensive line because that's kind of been their weakness this year, and Notre Dame's strength, of course, is the defensive line, the pass rush. But look, USC has skill position guys out there. They're the highest recruited players you could find, and Notre Dame wanted all of them. So those guys can make plays, but I think they're going to have to get time to make those plays, and I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, USC can always out-athlete people, that's for sure. All right, quick prediction.
I'm in the 38-17 range. I really think Notre Dame will pull away in the second half. I don't think they're going to destroy them by any means, and I don't think it'll be quite as easy as it looked last week against Syracuse because of those athletes, but I think it's a very focused Notre Dame team, and they'll close the deal today.
All right, Tim, as always, thanks so much for joining us. And you can subscribe to Irish Illustrated, the #1 source for Notre Dame sports online. Just head to irishillustrated.com, click on Join, and find the best plan for you. Chuck will send things back.
Okay, we've conquested the first half of the countdown, but there's a lot more in store. This is far from the first time a battle with USC will serve as a final hurdle for a memorable Irish season. I look back at that long history with mixed results. And here's another Subway trivia question. When's the only time Notre Dame and USC were both undefeated when they met, and who won? The answer when the countdown comes back in 2 minutes.
Here's today's Subway Eat Fresh trivia answer.
November 26, 1988 is the only time Notre Dame and USC were both undefeated when they met. The #1 Irish defense ruled the day, stifling Rodney Peete and the #2 Trojans, including a 64-yard pick six by Stan Smagala right before the half. Lou's lads then coasted to a 27-10 victory en route to the Fiesta Bowl and an eventual national championship. Smagala was not quite that fast. This is only the second visit to LA since then when Notre Dame has been undefeated, and it has hardly felt like the City of Angels many times for Irish teams.
The greatest college rivalry of all is Notre Dame versus the University of Southern California.
This is my favorite 6 seconds of this show every year. 1964, Ara Parsegan's undefeated Irish are an 11-point favorite, but USC rallies from 17 down at the half, winning on a Craig Furtick touchdown pass with under 2 minutes left. 2 years later, the Irish get 2 pick sixes. By the way, that was a defense. Notre Dame wins 51-0. 1970, the second-ranked Irish get a school record 526 passing yards from Joe Theismann in the driving rain, but USC recovers 2 fumbles in the end zone in a 37-second span, beating the Irish 38-28. ND would not win there the entire decade. We showed you 88, and then in 2012, Brian Kelly's squad gets 146 rushing yards from Theo Riddick on the way to a 22-13 win over the men of Troy. So while it can be a house of horrors for some, Alex, it is also a homecoming of sorts for one major cog of this Irish team.
Yeah, that's right, Chuck. We're talking about quarterback Ian Book, who's a California kid growing up just outside Sacramento. And tonight he takes the stage in Southern California with the hopes of the Irish nation on his back. It's been an incredible season for Book, who began the year as a backup, took over the team, and hasn't lost a start since. Now, this game in the Golden State will be yet another highlight.
It's going to be awesome. I think just the tradition of the two teams and the rivalry that we have, it doesn't get better than this, especially for week 12. So we are extremely excited. I'm excited, and to be able to go back to my home state and play against a team I grew up watching. It's kind of surreal.
While Book grew up watching USC, it was actually his brother who was the Trojans fan. Young Ian, meanwhile, pulled for crosstown rival UCLA. Now from one Cali kid leading his team to another on the other sideline, let's send things over to Mark Skol Jr. Mark?
Thank you, Alex. Trojans true freshman quarterback JT Daniels has shown flashes of star potential. While he has only thrown 3 more touchdowns than interceptions this season, Daniels showed the world his talent last week against UCLA. He threw for a career-high 337 yards and 2 long touchdowns in the loss to the Bruins. But the Irish recognize Daniels is a rising star and know USC's young QB and the rest of the offense could threaten tonight.
Got great offensive skill, can stretch the field vertically on you, get behind your secondary at any point in time, dynamic running backs, and a quarterback that's young but, talented and has the arm strength to put it downfield.
JT Daniels, a freshman who has got incredible arm talent, very smart quarterback. So this is a big play potential offense. They can make plays all over the field.
Daniels was the Gatorade National Player of the Year in high school and is now showing glimpses of living up to that billing. The Irish want to limit those moments tonight.
And now it's our Four Winds Casino What to Watch For. We head back to the Coliseum, and Alex with his Irish key to the game, an X-Factor pick.
That's right, Chuck. My key to the game for this week is pressure JT Daniels. Mark just talked about him. He's a kid who's got a lot of talent, but he's still supposed to be a senior in high school. I want this Irish defensive line that has changed so many games throughout this season to wish that JT Daniels was still back at modern day. As for my X Factor, I'm going to go with Irish cornerback Julian Love. He's going to have to cover a lot of really good athletes for USC, including wide receivers Michael Pittman Jr. and, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown. There are other talented freshmen. Julian Love has a lot of talent, and he's going to need to come up big tonight. Let's send things back to the studio. Mark, what do you got?
Alex, the Irish have been undefeated in the first 11 games of the season. So what do they need to change? You don't need to change anything. You've won every single game. My key is just don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. My X factor is Drew Tranquill. In a game like this, in a rivalry game, you need your leaders to step up. Drew Tranquill is that guy. Chuck, what's your key to the game?
Well, I've got to go with a fast start in this one for the Irish because you want to make sure that USC realizes they're the inferior team tonight, so get off to the quick start and make them feel subdued. And then for the X Factor, let's go with the El Dorado kid, the president of the book club. Number 12 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. People, put your hands together for Mr. Ian Book. Now, here are the final results of this week's Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. We asked you, who is Notre Dame's 2018 MVP? The majority of you say, it is my X Factor, Ian Book. Drew Tranquill a distant second, with Williams, Love, and Tillery looking like the Green Party. Thank you for voting in the Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. Up next, predictions for today's game when the countdown wraps up in 2 minutes. Back on the countdown, we continue our Four Winds Casino What to Watch For with game predictions. Mr. Skol.
Chuck, Notre Dame has been undefeated this entire season. I think they're going to be undefeated when tonight is over. They're going to roll the victory, 45-10 Irish.
I gave you that big history of all the problems Notre Dame has had at the Coliseum. Tonight will not be one of those nights. I will go with the palindromic score of Notre Dame 41, USC 14, with the obligatory special points, extra points, screw up. Meanwhile, what about Mr. Alex Wilcox? Well, his prediction is that Notre Dame will win as well. He's going with 38-20 for the Irish over the Trojans of the University of Southern California. So If all this is true, then Notre Dame will qualify for the college football playoff, and we'll find out those pairings on Sunday, December 2nd. That's it from South Bend and the Coliseum, with the game just minutes away on ABC. We'll have post-game reaction on WNDU.com tonight after the game, and a complete wrap-up of Notre Dame's quest for perfection tomorrow on News Center 16 Sunday morning.